Greetings, Dragon Ball fans, and welcome to part 3 of Ariel Shalom's suggested What If Goku Was Like the Hulk?, where, on his trip to Earth, little Kakarot's space pod was bombarded by a carefully aligned beam of blutzwaves and gamma rays. And now that he's old enough and the mutation has spread far enough, his access to the Ozaru form is a little bit easier, and thus more frequent. Previously, the black-tailed Goku was found by Grandpa Gohan, and still bumping his head, he became the delightful little wrecking ball we all know and love. Gohan then fell to the moon's still-present influence, and on finding his grandpa's body, Goku had his first encounter with the Ozaru. It's a contraction of Karuta Saru, which I think is crazed ape. Heading off with Bulma when she showed up, they met Monster Carrot, and Goku got a bit angry at the guards that beat him up. Monster Carrot then got squished, and Bulma was left feeling slightly orange. Yamcha then joined them early, and they went to Pilaf's castle, where, while Poir managed to wish Bulma back, they were all still locked up for the night, and Goku was told of the events in Mushroom City, and that he was the monster that had killed his grandpa. This wouldn't have gone over well anyway, but the presence of a full moon made the whole thing a bit of a foregone conclusion. At the 21st World Martial Arts Tournament, Goku's battle with Giran, not Jiren, Giran, because that's not a totally recycled name, again resulted in his tail regrowing, and him being a bit distracted during his fight with Nam. He then jetted off to Korin's tower with Roshi to seek help with the monster within, and ended up on Kami's lookout, a couple of pages ahead of schedule. There, he and Roshi trained with Popo and Kami, and eventually, seeking to limit collateral damage, Kami took them into the Room of Spirit and Time, not to be confused with the Time, or Pendulum Room. While Kami was otherwise occupied for the day, Mercenary Tao finally made his way to the top, via increasingly expensive planes. But he then had the misfortune of slightly scuffing the much-improved Master Roshi, and drawing Goku's ire something fierce. The Red Ribbon Army that had assembled at the base of the tower then faced the likes of Goku, Roshi, Krillin, and Yamcha, all of whom have now passed Korin's little tests. At the 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament, Tien was ousted without much effort by Yamcha, as was Chiaotzu by Krillin. Jackie Chun still put up a much-improved effort against Goku in the finals, but it just wasn't enough. Roshi's time in the hyperbolic time chamber had great gains for the old man, but Goku was still young, still approaching his prime, and his body was seemingly handcrafted for 10 Gs. When the Crane Hermit, Chiaotzu, and Tien accost the tournament winners at their celebratory dinner, Goku mostly ignores them. Only when an indignant Tien kicks the table over, scattering Goku's 5th course across the floor, do they get any sort of reaction from the party. After handing over his winnings, Goku stalks out of the restaurant, looks around, and then heads over to a local park. Being fairly dark outside, there weren't that many people in the park, which is sure to come in handy. He turns back to see that, as expected, Tien, Shen, and even that creepy little guy are all heading his way too. So, it's going to be a 3-on-1, huh? Oh, no, here comes Krillin and Yamcha, and it looks like Roshi has taken care of the bill too. The Crane School members fan out a bit, and Tien, arguably the most capable, physically, steps forward. As he does, though, Goku breathes in sharply and then out again, the picture of all that delicious food scattered now across the floor, sitting firmly in his mind. Tien then stops and stares, his 3 eyes suddenly wide as his eyes and senses disagree on what they see. This small boy, to Tien, now appears somewhat larger. Is he hallucinating? Tien spares a glance behind him to see that Chiaotzu is just standing there, staring blankly, but Master Shen is on his back, scrambling away. So, not a hallucination. Well, that's a relief, right? When he turns back to Goku, he again sees just the little boy standing there, staring off at something. What on earth just happened? There was a vicious-looking beast, but now there's not. There's just this boy, not even looking at him. He's looking up into the sky, following something. The rest of the Turtle School are also looking up at the dark figure, slowly circling them in the night sky. They watch as it eventually swoops down, off toward the tournament arena across town, and disappears. Goku looks back, no longer interested, but the look on Roshi's face again draws his attention from the lost food. Ignoring Tien, Goku asks what the matter is, and after a moment to collect himself, Roshi says that thing, it couldn't be, but it looks like, oh dear gods, it looks like one of King Piccolo's demon spawn. No, Master Shen sputters weakly. It can't be. Now having picked himself back up and adjusted his gown, Shen then rounds on Roshi. You said you'd hidden the thing, where no one would find it. I tossed that thing into the ocean, Roshi shoots back defensively. What thing? Bulma asks. Master, that fool Mutaito put King Piccolo in a rice cooker, Shen says, still staring daggers at Roshi. A rice cooker? Bulma says, confused. Then, moving on from that slight incongruity. She looks at Roshi too, with a worried look on her face. A rice cooker made of plastic and metal? Yeah, I guess. It was a special model, though. Top of the line. Airtight and all that. Master Mutaito was very specific. Bulma just stares at him for a moment, then glances to Shen and back. You threw something made of plastic and metal that has a large, watertight, possibly buoyant compartment into the ocean? Well, what was I supposed to do with it? Keep it in the cupboard next to my slow cooker? Their now almost three-way accusations are interrupted by the sirens of the local police and fire brigade, and they follow the sounds to the tournament arena, which is now on fire. When they arrive, they find the announcer still alive, but apparently a few of the fighters are not. They weren't even really good fighters, but that winged thing had cut them all down in a single motion. He'd also left this sheet of paper on the wall above the filing cabinet that the official roster was stored in. The collective gasp from Roshi and Shen confirms it. King Piccolo is indeed back, and he's up to something. Ignoring Shen's continued accusations, Roshi collapsed to the floor and does the needed exposition about King Piccolo's reign of terror and... Wait, Piccolo and Kami? They're the same, aren't they? Was this his fault? If he hadn't taken Goku to Korin, and then Kami's lookout, would King Piccolo still slumber in his waterlogged container? He needs to check, to ask Kami if this was his doing. Some test maybe, to see... No, he's the Guardian. He's been, or had claimed to be, so upset by King Piccolo's destruction, and the sacrifice of their master, Mutaito. He still has to ask, though. Maybe Kami knows something that they can use. Their extended musings are interrupted by the sound of flapping, and they look up to see that something massive is descending upon them. The oversized symbol has been sent back this way after Tambourine returned with only the tournament roster, but no Dragon Ball. He probably shouldn't have shown up, though, as he's not facing the same Krillin, let alone Goku and company. Roshi and Shen, being slightly terrified of the monster, both take an involuntary step back, but Goku, Krillin, Yamcha, and even Tien, seeing his master's reaction, takes a step in the opposite direction. I think it's fair to say that Symbol gets his bell rung, or his bow? I don't know, it's been a while since I was in band class. Symbols have bells, right? That cone thing in the middle? Anyway, whatever he has gets dented pretty hard by, I want to say, Krillin? Korin's training should be enough for that, not to mention climbing to Kami's lookout. Mystical thunderstorms be damned. They search the body, but not being tasked with killing tournament members, Symbol lacks the Demon King's calling cards. Because, announcing that you've killed someone is just an all-around great idea when somebody's there to actually do something about it. Before they got to the whole beat-up Symbol part, though, they did let the guy have his say, and all he was interested in was the Dragon Ball in Goku's little waist pouch. After the Dragon Balls, are they? Well, that's not ideal. What could the most evil being ever known do with a no-holds-barred wish? Even the Crane Hermit, resident evildoer that he is stumped by that one. Money, maybe? Well, that's what he'd wish for. Money, and maybe girls. Tien's reaction to that is mirrored only by Bulma giving him the side-eye, while reaching into her satchel. She pulls out the Dragon Radar, and a few clicks later, she can confirm that there is one Dragon Ball slowly cruising over the ocean, and the rest are widely scattered. Goku's is right here, and there's another one not too far away, actually, just over on the mainland's coast. They could just get them both to guard against whatever this King Piccolo guy has in mind for them. If all he does is send more goons like that Symbol guy, they'll be fine. And so, as Roshi and Shen share a knowing look that none of this is remotely fine, we will bring Part 3 to a close. I bet you're all bummed out that Tien never got to see the actual Ozaru, or Kurizaru, after his little stunt with the dinner table, are you? But that's probably for the best, given their proximity to the rest of the city. What do you think King Piccolo has in store for that barely contained beast? Or will he himself go the way of Monster Rabbit, squashed flat and out of harm's way all too soon? That might not actually work out in the long run, would it? Well, find out next time on Dragon Ball. What if Goku was like the Hulk?